Father's Day to me is a very special day. And what it means to me is it just really makes me think about the man who raised me, which is my dad, Brother Malone, Jr. That's what most people called him. But to me, he was my dad. And it's an appreciation day. And it's a day to kind of reminisce and think about all the things that he's done for me and my brother John and my brother Jerome and Tyrone and my sister Letitia. We were all raised on 1413 12th Street in Athens, Alabama. And he was a preacher, a man of God, and just his firm belief in God and how he ruled over his household. Now I appreciate it more. Matter of fact, I actually try to pattern after my dad quite a bit, and how I raised my kids. Not everything, but yeah, he had a big influence on me as a father. And so a day of appreciation. Yeah, that's what it is to me. I appreciate my father. I guess the biggest thing is he stuck with us. As so many times in my life, I've seen my friends and people I grew up with, they just didn't have a father who stuck around. And so just the mere fact that my dad loved us enough to work hard as he did, he worked every single day, and came home. We knew he came home at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock sharp, you could hear that door open, boom, my dad was home. So that's what I appreciate the most about him. He loved us enough to take care of us and raise us right. Some of the qualities I see in myself from my dad is, I guess I raised my children kind of firm and strict too. Not too strict. The things that he was real strict on, I was a little lenient on Taylor, Chandler, and Kennedy. But I will say that I probably was firmer than a lot of parents are, especially with me having all girls. My dad had 4 boys and 1 girl. So just trying to raise them the best way my wife and I saw fit. And I'm sure there are some things that her dad taught her that came in play with us raising our girls. And definitely the things that my dad taught us, like church. I mean, we had to go to church every single Sunday. It was just a known fact that we were going to worship the Lord every single day. Also working hard. I worked hard for my kids. I made sure I took care of them. Made sure they had a roof over their head, clothes on their back, food on the table, that they got their education, and number one, that they served the Lord. So those are some of the things that my dad always had. And I must say, even with my father-in-law, one thing that was big with them was education. And so we just knew that our kids would go to school, get an education, and get them on a right start in life. Yeah. So, yeah, those are some things that I picked up from my dad. One of the things that I think new fathers should have, qualities that they should have, is to love. You gotta love. That means that you're gonna provide for your family. Now, I mean, you don't have to be rich to provide for your family, but every time you eat, they should eat. And should no man have to make you take care of your family? And it's sad to say, but in this day and time, women have to take men to court just so they can make sure that their children are fed and clothed. No, that's just a God-given thing that you should do. That should be a trait that you should just have. It's just the right thing to do. You know what I mean? So those qualities, you need to have that. Also, there are some things that only a man can teach their children. And so we need to teach it from a man's point of view. And that's what we would do that's what I would do with my kids, you know. I would let them know, you know, like, for instance, you know, the clothes that they wear. Growing up, Taylor, Chandler, and Kennedy, they would get these talks about, hey, watch what you wear, you know. But there is no. And even my wife might feel like it's okay, but I like, listen, I'm a man. You know, as they were growing up and maturing, I said, I'm a man. I know how men think. So watch what you wear. You can't wear this. You can't wear the low cuts. You can't wear all this tight stuff and the writings on the back of your pants. You know, hey, that draws attention to parts that, you know, hey, be careful about that. So that's coming from a man's point of view. Those are some things only a man can teach. Really coming from a man's perspective. That's why it's good to have that man and the woman in the household. And I know that there are a lot of times that only the woman is there, so you do the best you can. And hey, but God knew what he was doing when he made male and female, and for them to come together as one and have children and to raise them the way he would have it to go. That's so important. And then I think in this world that we're living in, we're getting away from that. Yeah. No, that's a good question. That's a good question. What do I want them to remember about me when I'm dead and gone in my grave, in my cold, cold grave? How much I love them and how much I want them to keep God first. I want them to remember I was a man who trusted in God to the best of my ability. And trying to be a really good example to them and to pass that on to their children too. That's why we have plenty of videos that y'all can watch of me when I'm gone. Don't forget about me.
Oh, you talking to me?
Yeah.
Nah.
And hopefully a lot of the things that I said, and I find myself doing that about my dad, you know, and I pass it on to my kids, the things that he taught us. It's just special. The things that we used to build, church buildings and things like that. And, you know, we worked on a lot of things together. And at the time when Dad used to yell at us and fuss, you know, it wasn't fun then, but, you know, now I just think about it. I'm like, wow, all the things that I do to build and stuff like that, it all come back to me. And it's just things that you can't forget. So I hope my kids can look back, you know, when I'm dead and gone, and to be able to laugh, you know, and just take the things that I've said and I taught them over the years and enjoy life, you know, because life goes on. It's a cycle. It goes on. Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Trying to get ahead with the little strength that I have left. Can't